everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with my how I multi-place video. Hopefully it's helpful to some of you. I have been trying to think of the best way to show you all day. I'm like, okay, I gotta film this video when I get home from work. What is the best way to set this up? So we're going to start at this angle, but there may be a few pauses just so I can adjust the camera. I want to make sure you guys can actually see what I'm doing. But before we get into that, I'm going to talk about tips, different size multiplacers, what I like to use in a multiplacer, and then we'll go from there. So the first thing I want to talk about is different types of multiplacers themselves. So I'm going to actually pull you guys down just a little bit more. So this particular storage comes from Dollar Tree. I have a couple of these where I store all of my tips. I have one where I have a bunch of single placers, and then I have a lot of the thicker multiplacers. I obviously grab for this one a lot more often. It has the thin placers as well as my stainless steel and metal tips. So when it comes to plastic multiplacers, actually let me go grab that other container. Okay, container acquired, because as I started talking I realized that some people may prefer these thicker multiplacers. So we're going to talk about everything. So when diamond painting first started out, like when it first took off, I guess I should say, a lot of our kits came with this more clear style multiplacer. So they are thicker. The well is thicker where you put the wax. In theory, they're the same as a thin multiplacer. You can place multiple diamonds, but they are thicker. I never really had a problem with these. I've always preferred using the thicker placers, multiplacers with round drills, but they do work just the same in my opinion. I think it's more of a preference thing. So if you prefer this style, the thicker ones, there's nothing wrong with you. It just works better for you. That is the one thing about diamond painting, is there really isn't a right or a wrong way to do it. It's just what works best for you, what your preference is. And if someone's telling you that you're doing it wrong, don't listen to them, because you're doing it how you want to. So that is like the main disclaimer with this video, is these are the things that I prefer. This is how I multiplace. It's what I like to do. There are plenty of other multiplacing videos out there. Off the top of my head, I can think of Katie from Diamonds and Washi. She has a really great video. I'm trying to think of who else. I know that there was another one that I watched at some point last year. I'm pretty confident in my multiplacing, so I don't really seek those type of videos out. But if somebody I'm subscribed to puts one out, then I may tune in. But definitely just YouTube search it if you want other ideas or opinions on multiplacing. I digress. So we have these thicker multiplacers. The most popular is probably the 3-placer. We used to get this in a lot of kits. Now you will still see some kits that come with these thicker multiplacers. I believe this is a 6. It's not labeled. And this is probably a 9. I just guess, but these work just as fine. We can test one of them out so you guys can see how they work when we get to that phase of the video. So that is the first style. The rest that's in here are just a bunch of straighteners. And these are stoppers for, I don't know what kind of trays. I feel like these are very early Bella Art de Nicole days. I'm gonna take a drink of water. I feel like I'm gonna be talking a lot in this video. So that's my first container. I don't gravitate towards this one as often, but I do like to keep these in my stash. You just never know. This is the one that I pull from the most. So these are the thin multiplacers. We have the 4, which was a favorite for a very, very long time. I worked with a 4-placer for years before I tried anything else. I didn't think I would be able to multiplace with anything larger than a 4, but with time and practice, you definitely can get there. Next up is the 7 placer. This has been my sweet spot for quite a while. I was finally like, okay, I think I can try something larger than a 4. I went for a 7 placer and I really, really enjoyed it. Now you can purchase 4 placers in a pack of multiples from many places on Amazon. I think I got both my 4 placers and my 7 placers from Star Ore. I'll see if I can find those and I'll link them down below. But if you do purchase Diamond Art Club kits, you get a 4 and a 7 in every toolkit, whether it's a round or a square. So it's pretty easy to build up a stash. But I guess the 7 is my sweet spot. But recently I have been using the 10 placer quite often. I don't have very many of them, but the 10 placer is fun to use. This is a 10. I think a 10 placer is what I have on my pen for this kit. And you can go all the way up to, I think the largest I have is a 15. So right here we have another 10, we have a 6, and then we have a 14 placer and a 15 placer. Now, these are a little big for me personally. I feel like my drills get a little wonky when I go much larger than a 10 placer. That's just personal preference. You can get all kinds of variety packs on Amazon, and a lot of them go all the way up to a 15. I think you can often get like a set of a 2 placer all the way up to a 15 placer and whatever's in between. So if you just kind of want to dabble with some different sized placers, I would definitely recommend like a multi-pack. I'll see if I can find one down below that looks promising, and I can link that. They'll all probably be Amazon links, but my Amazon links are not affiliate, just so you know. So those are the plastic multi-placer options. Now, there are a lot of other things out there. So I have a few of these 3D printed tips. Now, these ones are from a shop that used to be called, what was the name of this shop? Was it like Lexi, Kylie or something? I'll see. It's not called that anymore. So I will link this shop down below. I'll put like a little heading that says 3D tips, 3D printed tips, and then I will link this store. They have changed their name. These ones are rounded, and I didn't love them personally. I think because I got them in such a small set. Like I think these are all 3 and 4 placers. These are supposed to help you make multi-placing easier. It helps you with like the rocking motion, which we'll talk about when we start actually doing the diamond painting. But in theory, a lot of people say that you should rock your multi-placer back and forth. It's just the easiest way to lay your drills down. Other people say, not saying that's what I say, but this, since it's rounded, it just kind of prompts you to automatically, my camera is going crazy. Sorry about that. You start with, you know, this part of the tip flat on the canvas, and then you just roll. So that is the purpose of a rounded tip. If you are new to multi-placing, that may be helpful to you. I don't necessarily love the 3D printed tips. I've had many break on me. Not necessarily from this shop, but I do have, and I have had some 3D printed placers from Bella Arte Nicole. These have not worked for me personally. I love Bella Arte Nicole. I have so many trays and other accessories from them, but for me, the multi-placers just fall short. I don't think I have the other one anymore, but I had a green one that was maybe a 6 or 7 placer, and the filament just completely cracked off on the side. So if you are a hard presser, I would personally advise you to steer clear of the 3D printed tips. I just kind of feel like they're a waste of money if you are a hard presser. If you're not, maybe give them a try, but personally, not my favorite. Then there is the world of metal and stainless steel tips. Now, I don't have, oh, I do have one. So I have a bunch of tips from Everlasting Tips. They were kind of the first metal stainless steel company to really come out. and I went ham because I thought they were the greatest thing. Now, I still use them occasionally. Some of my favorite pens have everlasting tips in them, but I do find their placers to be quite wide. Now, these have been out for a very, very long time, similar to when these clear, semi-clear, semi-translucent tips were the ones that were out there. So I feel like the well on the everlasting tips is quite similar. It's very, very deep and pretty wide. So definitely take that into consideration. I'm not bashing everlasting tips at all. I have many, 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 many tips from her. At one point, I was collecting everything that she came out with, and then it just became too much. But and they are based in Australia, so if you're in the US or anywhere not in Australia, shipping is probably very expensive. These are stainless steel, so they are expensive, just as a warning. But I do prefer some of the other metal tips because they are thinner. So that's the everlasting tip. And then, unfortunately, one of my favorite multiplacer, or stainless steel, I should say, multiplacers, they don't actually make them anymore. And they were the tips from Patriotic Team. I'm trying to find a couple of them. I guess I only have one available. It looks like I only have one. My other ones must be in pens, but this is one of the placers from Patriotic Team. Like I said, unfortunately, these aren't available anymore, but if you have them, they're a really great option. I would say that they are probably the most comparable to everlasting tips, but they are a smidge thinner, which was nice. And then I have a bunch of these tips from Butterfly Effect Wares. Now, Butterfly Effect Wares has the tips that you can kind of get from multiple pen sellers. These ones I've seen from Handmade Diamond Painting Pens and more. I think BFF Pens sells a similar one. And these ones work just as well. I'll link a Butterfly Effect Wares listing down below because I know I've purchased from them many, many times. And these are a really great option. I cannot confirm that these are stainless steel. I think they're just some type of metal. But these work pretty well. They are a little bit thicker still, but it is an option and they are pretty affordable. Any of these kind of metal, not sure that they're stainless steel ones, they are quite affordable. And then you head over to Amazon and you can get these pretty big packs for a pretty reasonable amount of money. Now, these ones, sorry, I'm turning my watch off. These ones here are a set that came with a pen that I showed you guys in a recent video, but I have some rose gold ones, some gold ones, as well as a bunch of silver ones. A lot of my silver ones are in pens, but I do enjoy using these metal tips. Now, these ones have become quite popular because they are pretty similar in size to these thin white tips. You can see the well there. It's pretty much spot on to these white ones, which I'm going to go as far as to say that these thin multiplacers are the preferred in the community. Like I said earlier, there are people who probably still prefer the thicker ones, but I think a lot of us have shifted gears to this thinner style. So to see metal tips that came out that are similar in size is very nice. If you are a hard presser, I would highly recommend investing in some of these tips off of Amazon. Like I said, I got these rose gold ones and the gold ones in a set with pens. You can find a ton of those options. You may not get this large of a set of an assortment of tips, but definitely you'll get a few. So these ones, let's dump these ones out here so I can show you the size. Now we do have some extra clear little O-rings there, which are great if you have a pen where the hole is drilled out a little bit more. You can kind of customize the size of your tip. You can also just use washi tape or regular tape. Okay, so in this set, we got a couple of single placers, which we're not talking about in today's video, but we have a 2, so you can place 2 diamonds, a 3 placer, we have a 4 placer, a 5, a 6, a 7, and we have an 8. I already put the 9 placer on a different pen, so you did get a 9 and a 10. So this is a really great assortment of sizes. If you are new to multi-placing, going from a single to a 2 placer is definitely feasible. There are some people in the community who, instead of having a single placer on their pen, they have a 2 placer on one side and then they have a larger multi-placer on the other. That's obviously like your discretion type of thing, but as you get more comfortable, you may decide to do that. I love my single placer, so I always have a single placer, but that is definitely an option. So that's what we're working with in terms of what's available in different sizes, different materials, that type of thing. The next thing I want to talk about, and we'll get back to those when we are actually placing diamonds. I'll show you a couple of different types and all of that fun stuff. The next thing I want to talk about that I feel like is important when you're talking about multi-placing is what to use in your multi-placer. Personally, I am all about the putty in my multi-placer. It is the best, in my opinion. I just feel like I don't know exactly how to put it, but my preferred is putty over pink wax. So I'm going to talk about the putties that I like and what I enjoy using in my multi-placer. And we'll talk about pink wax because I'm actually using pink wax for one of my multi-placers on this kit. But in terms of wax, I can't find my museum putty. I used it this weekend on something else, so I know it's around. I just can't locate it. Museum putty is an awesome option. It's what I used for a very long time in my multi-placer. You can get a very large pack off of Amazon. I'll link it down below. And that's what I used before all of these like scented putties came out. So it works very, very well. You get a ton of product for a very affordable price. You do not need a scented option. It's just fun to have different things to use, in my opinion. So at the moment, my favorite thing to use in my multi-placer is actually tied between 2 different putties. So the first one is this wonderful putty from Excuse Me Designs. This one is in the scent Frosty. Smells delicious. Now, complete side note, but I saw on Etsy that Excuse Me Designs is coming back January 1st. They had announced, I think it was the end of November, they announced that they were closing down. But I saw something listed in the shop today. You know, like the update section on your Etsy page. I saw that something was listed. So I went to click on it and it was like a sample pack or something. But it said this shop is on vacation. And then in the little shop info page, it said they were reopening January 1st. I'm so excited because this is one of my recommended putties, and I was very upset that I wouldn't be able to recommend it anymore. So Excuse Me Designs is my favorite to use in my multi-placer, as well as this putty from NYX's Notions. I have a few of these. I actually haven't used this one, but these are both very, very long lasting and easy to work with in a multi-placer. I also enjoy the Enablers Outpost Chit, C-H-I-T, and I'm actually using one of these on this kit that I'm working on. This is another putty formula. If I can get into this. Just a little piece of putty. I'm also going to show you guys how I load into a multiplacer, so we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Another favorite is Randa's Crafty Corner. I would say these are my top three. Randa's Putty, NYX's Notions, and Excuse Me Designs. They're all a little different. I feel like you can only make putty so many ways, but these three, they're all different enough that I like them for different reasons. Another one that I've been enjoying, but I need to use more, is this caulk from Swax. This is another good option, but I haven't used it as much, so I don't want to hype it up too much, but I do really enjoy it. Okay, so putty. That is what I prefer in my multiplacer. However, you can certainly still use the pink wax. This just happens to be the pink wax from Diamond Art Club. You can use purple wax, blue wax, yellow wax, white wax. I don't know. I've got it all. I'm looking for my, I have some colored wax from Diamond Drills USA, but I can't seem to locate it right now. I thought it was over here, but you can use any type of regular wax that you would like. My personal preference obviously is the putty, but there are really good uses for the pink wax, and we'll talk about that in a second. So what I'm going to do now is I have a couple of pens here, and we're going to load some putty. Now, these are actually pretty freshly loaded. So what I'm going to do is, I think I'm just going to switch out the tips, but we'll see. So let's fill one of these thicker. I feel like I should have gotten a couple of extra pens, but that's okay. Let's put one of these thicker ones. I think this is a 6-placer. And then let's do a 4-placer. And in the 6-placer, I'm going to load, let's do, I don't know, let's do the Excuse Me Designs. Oh, this one smells so good. So for the Excuse Me Designs, now take into account that a lot of putty shops will send you directions on how to load their product. I have loaded so much putty into my pens that I just kind of have my own way of doing it, but definitely read through their instructions first. They are the ones that are creating the product. They're sending you instructions for a reason. This is just how I do it. So take that as you will. For the Excuse Me Designs, I like to just pinch off a little bit here. And this is the thicker tip, so that may be a little bit more than I would normally pull, but I'll put leftover putty back in the container. I do not care. So I will roll this out so that I have kind of a thin little log, if you will. And then I just push this into my multiplacer. You can see I have a little tail here. I'm just gonna flip that over and push it right on top. And I just kind of mold it until it's somewhat flush with the tip. Now, what I do next is, I'm actually gonna pull you guys out so you can see my desk here. I take the flat surface, whether it's my desk or my drafting table or whatever, and I push the pen down on top of it, and I just kind of pull back just a little bit. And I do that because it helps me create a super flush line. This is all the excess that was sitting on top there, okay? See all that there? So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of go around the sides and just pinch that off. So now I have a pretty flush bit of putty in there. Now there'll probably be a little bit of I don't know what to call it, a little bit that will like squish over once we do the drills, but that's a pretty flush amount of putty for now. So this is what I had left over. Like I said, I probably pulled a little too much off, but I'm just gonna put this back into my container. That is fully usable fresh putty for my next refill. Okay, so let's fill the 4-placer with some of this from NYX's Notions. I actually have another one that I have gone into. So let's use that one. This one is Warmth of the Holidays. Now, this is a very, very interesting putty. I am working on a putty video, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but the texture of this is like, it's kind of like a gel putty hybrid. I don't know. It's so interesting to me. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to pull a little bit, bearing in mind that I'm only filling a 4-placer here, so I don't need too much, but I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to roll it, and then I'm going to just stick it in there, fold that little piece over, and I'm just pushing that in with my finger, and then I'm doing that same thing on the table, and you can see I have just a little bit of extra there, so I'm just going to pinch it off. Okay, so that is our thick 6-placer and our thin 4-placer. We also have a 7-placer, no, an 8-placer and a 10-placer with a couple of other wax options. So this is what we're going to start with. We can do a metal tip in a little bit if we so desire. So the first thing I need to do is cut my plastic here. I did share in yesterday's video how I section off my canvases with washi tape. That video was a little bit of a mess, but it is what it is. I can do a more in-depth video if that's interesting to any of you. All right, I'm going to move you guys down. And I'm going to move you guys over. I just don't want too much glare here for you guys. All right, we're going to start with this arrow. Which is this color. Something that I think is very underrated when it comes to multi-placing is a good tray. So personally, those small trays that come with the kits, they don't work very well for me because I feel like it's kind of hard to get a really good lineup of drills. Just because you're working with such a small surface area, it just doesn't work for me. But this is a Muni-Made tray. I do feel like Muni-Made is a pretty good option. I'm working on my best of 2022 video as well, so I'll talk about trays in that video, but I do enjoy the Muni-Made trays. I haven't purchased from them in quite a while, so this is the older style. But so we have some nice drills. Now keep in mind, when you're shaking your tray, you want to try to have longer rows depending on how long, or how large I should say, of a multi-placer you're using. So I'm actually going to lay this plastic back down because I want to put this tray on here so I can show you guys how I pick up the drills. All right, and I think I'm actually going to pause you here. I'm going to move the camera arm a little bit because I think I'm going to hit you with this pen. So give me 1 second. Okay, so a little bit of a funky angle, but we're going to work with it. So let's start with this thicker 6-placer. So here it is filled with the putty. Sorry about my nails. I haven't done my Christmas manicure just yet. So what I'm going to show you before we even get to laying down the drills is how I pick up the drills with my multi-placer. You need to know how you pick them up before you can lay them down, right? So I'm going to, is this a 6-placer? 1, 2, 3, I think so. So I actually have 6 drills right here, perfectly lined up. Now, for me, when I multi-place, I tend to pick up on a bit of an angle. So I'm not going to go straight down because when I'm actually diamond painting, I feel like that isn't visually possible for me. So when I pick it up on an angle, I can actually see what I'm doing. So keep in mind, if I'm diamond painting, I normally have my tray like this with all of my drills horizontal in front of me. So if I'm just picking up like this, I can't really see the drills that I'm picking up, but if I'm picking up on an angle, I can see them better. So that is what I do. So I'm going to start with this part of the multiplacer, and I'm going to pick up my first drill, and then I'm just going to drop down. And you can see that we have 6 drills picked up there. So let me open this back up. I'm going to keep you guys at this angle, I think. And we can do that again. I just don't want to waste these drills. So right down here in this area, it looks like we have 7 spaces, but that's okay. So I'm actually going to go opposite of how I picked them up. So I picked them up with this bottom part first, and then I tipped forward. Now I'm going to lay them down with the back of the multiplacer, and I'm going to tip towards me. I can't see perfectly, so these may be a little crooked, but hopefully you're going to get the gist. So I have my pen at a little bit of an angle. My back drill is going to touch the canvas first, and then I'm just going to roll down. And of course, that back drill didn't come off. There we go. So let's pick up some more drills, and we will do that again. Now, obviously that's like reversible. If you want to pick up this way and then lay down, however it works for you. Just do whatever works best for you. Let's pick up from the front and tip back. And that was an extra drill that didn't make it, but that's okay. And we're going to go right next to these drills here. I'm going to lay that back one down first, and then I'm going to roll forward and back. Looks like I overfilled this pen a little bit, but that's okay. Now, just because you have a 6 placer doesn't mean you always have to pick up 6 drills. We have 3 right here, so I'm going to pick up 3 drills. And then we have 4. And then we have 4 again. Now, you definitely can just pick 3 up, put 3 down, maybe, if your putty would release. But for me, I feel like I'm a little bit more precise when I do a little bit of a rocking type of motion, which is what I was trying to explain when I was talking about those rounded tips. In theory, those are a great idea. They just didn't work out for me, and I think it's because I purchased them in the smaller size. So the ones I have are like 3 and 4 placers. If I purchased like a 7 placer, I think they would have worked out a lot better for me. And I would recommend, if you're, learning or you're interested and you really want to get that rocking motion, maybe to pick them up. But for me, it just didn't work out. I'm gonna move you guys just a little bit so that I can kind of see better. So there's just 2 drills. Oh, this one didn't come off. And then we're just going to pick up 1 because we have 1 little lonely drill right there. So then we have 5. For me personally, I will very often pick up less drills than I need for the multiplacer, and I'll do my whole section with my multiplacer, and then my single placer just kind of becomes a tool to help me shuffle things around if I need to, or if I have a random single drill, I can place that down. But my multiplacer is kind of just what I use on kits. So that's the 6 placer. Now let's take a look at the 4-placer in the thinner style. Now this one has that putty from NYX's Notions. And again, just because it's a 4-placer, it doesn't mean that you have to only lay down 4 drills. So let's go up to this section right here. I'm gonna try to get this tray in frame for all of you without knocking you around. But in theory, it's the same. I love how I said without knocking you around, and then I knocked you around. Same type of thing. We're just going to pick up our 4 drills. Is there even a spot with 4? No. So we're going to place 1 drill, and then we'll place our other 3. Now, when you first start multiplacing, you are definitely probably going to have to straighten your drills. I don't even get my drill straight every time. If you saw me diamond painting in my whip-in chat this week, where I was placing everything down crooked, some days it's just not meant to be. But I personally love multiplacing. I feel like I move through my kits very quickly. If you are looking to practice your multiplacing, I highly recommend either a kit by Hannah Lynn or a kit by Mandy Manzano. Those are really great options because they tend to have a lot of color blocking. Now, let me pause and get my camera straightened out, and then I'll be right back. I was trying to be all cool and straighten it out discreetly while talking, and that kind of backfired. So I wanted to talk to you guys about circumstances where multiplacing with the pink wax may become ideal. Now, on this kit, I am using a 10-placer with Enablers Outpost Chit, C-H-I-T. You can see, I think I have a drill stuck in there. Like, what? Why is that there? I often use 1 multiplacer per kit and then it goes bye-bye. I am a hard presser, so if I'm using the plastic ones, a lot of the times they don't last me longer than 1 kit. They may last you longer, they just don't for me personally. But I'm using the Forest Pine. This is absolutely, oh my God, it smells so good. But one thing about the Chit, C-H-I-T, I feel like I have to spell it every time because it sounds like I'm saying something else. This is not my favorite for working with ABs. It's a little bit more sticky than some of the other putties that are out on the market. And that's just a personal preference. For me, when I diamond paint with it, I do not enjoy it for ABs. So that is a good reason to have some pink wax around. I just filled up another multiplacer on a second pen with some pink wax. And when I've been placing my AB drills, I've been using this pink wax and it works very well. There's nothing wrong with the standard wax. There's nothing wrong with it. It works just fine. It's just not as long lasting and it's not as fun to match the scents and all the other fun stuff. So if you have a huge stash of pink wax, like most of us, use it. Just use it. Don't feel like you need to go out and buy anything special. The pink wax works just as well. You just may be filling it up a little bit more often than you would with something else. So I think I've covered, oh no, we wanted to talk about metal tips. Let's do that. So let's fill up one of these metal tips. I'm gonna do the 2-placer just because I want to use it. 2-placer, here you are. We will put you in this pen here if you'll fit. Ooh, I almost dropped it. I don't think it's gonna fit. Maybe. Oh, here we go. It's a little bit tight. So here is that 2-placer. And let's fill this one with the putty from Miranda. Because why not? This one smells so good. I cannot wait to use this one. This is the Aspen Winter. It's been a very long time since I've filled a 2-placer, so I know I've pulled too much putty, but that's okay. Can you guys hear Luna going wild in the hallway? I have no idea what she's playing with, but something has her attention. Okay, so look at that. It's so cute. I guess for the 2-placer, you could probably just stab it into the putty, which you could technically do with any of the sizes. But there's our little 2-placer. It's so cute. All right. Now for the 2-placer, I don't know that I'm necessarily going to do my like rocking motion because I feel like that's kind of silly. So I guess I would probably pick it up just like I do with a 1-placer. But you have your two little drills. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. Stop. It's so cute. I love it. I don't know the last time I used a 2-placer. It's so funny. But if you're just starting, a 2-placer might be where it's at for you. It may be your best option because you're still picking up more than one drill. Look at that. Cool. The reason that I'm starting to really gravitate towards metal tips is exactly what I just said to you a couple of minutes ago. I am a hard presser. I run through those thin plastic tips pretty quickly. Let's use a different tip just so you guys can see what I'm doing a little bit better. Let's go back to the tip I had in here that I've been using, which is a 10-placer. So this is a 10-placer, but I only have a spot with 3 drills, so I'm just going to pick up 3 drills and lay them down. Got 2 there. So that is how I multi-place. If you feel like I missed something in this video, or if you would like I don't know, if you just want to do like a multi-place with me video where I just multi-place and I can have like music over it or something like that, just because you want to see the motion. I know for some people, like just seeing it happen can be very helpful. So definitely let me know if you would like me to do another video, a follow-up video from a different angle, or if there's something else you want me to try or something else that you want me to show you, please let me know in the comments down below. I hope this has been helpful. To be completely honest with you, I started multi-placing on my first diamond painting. I did a kit off of Amazon. I don't even know if I have it anymore. And there was a ton of black background. It was sunflowers and the whole background was black. And that kit came with, I think it came with a 4-placer, and I just went to town. And I think because of that, I just feel comfortable multi-placing. But if you get frustrated, go back to your 1-placer. And then when you're feeling ready, try it again. It's definitely just one of those like repetitive things that you just need to keep trying, and either you'll just get it and you're going to love it, or you're just going to find out that you prefer to be a 1-placer. So let me know down below if you have any questions. I hope this video was helpful. Again, I am more than willing to do a follow-up video, answer any questions and anything like that. So feel free to email me, to message me on Instagram, to leave me a comment. All that information is down below, and I will see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye.